Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7. Live on hot7025fm.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's your main man, 360 the Poet from the Morning Wood, and I'm here to talk to you about the Sci-Fi Center. It's your Vegas home for science fiction, horror, and fantasy. From comic books, toys, and posters to movie screenings and live events, they've got you covered. Located at 900 Cameron Avenue, Suite B209, give them a call, 702-900-4335, or reach them at thescificenter.com.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Cheryl Underwood, and you're tuned into the hottest news station on the planet, Hot 702.5.
Hey, it's Icarice, and I'm here to tell you about Hotcast for Podcasting. We are a podcasting studio located in Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Hot 702.5 FM studios. You can book online at hot7025fm.com. Just click on Hotcast. You can book and find your times right there. Thank you for booking with Hotcast for Podcasting. Tune in now on hot7025fm.com.
Hi. Hey. What's up?
All your favorite artists.
Check it out.
Say my name.
DJ Khaled.
This is Mila J.
Bruno Mars.
On hot7025fm.com.
Oh, okay, there we go. Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy amazing Thursday. Easter is this weekend. I think that's pretty cool. I forgot about Easter. Everybody talked to me about 420, but I don't even do that no more, man. I gave it up. I stopped. Sorry that I disappointed y'all and I can't pull up and have all of the fun activities we normally do every year. I'm trying to become a better person, and I think that was holding me back a little bit. So I let it go. Maybe y'all will too later on down the road, or you know, I realized it was actually a, what do you call that? It was a, what's the word I'm looking for? Distraction. I realized it was a distraction. I've been figuring out that, like if I get irritated easily or I get upset, and instead of me actually resolving that right then and there with myself, I'll just kind of like go smoke and call it a day. And I just feel like that's not healthy anymore, right? I need to find a better outlet to actually control those impulses, control that, the negativity that comes my way. I don't want to just kind of shrug it off and push it to the side. So, and I'm doing pretty well. You know, I'm not going to lie. The funny thing is, after that first week, I can't remember when the first week was. It's been a month or two, something like that. But after the first week, I thought I'd be craving it, and I didn't. So it's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy about that I don't crave it. So that made me feel like I can really go on and do it. Even now till this day, I'm happy about it. 420 is right around the corner, and I'm looking at y'all like, Easter, eggs, kids, Easter Oh, I got to get Easter baskets. Oh, man, I better not forget about that, because my kids are never going to let me hear it down. The only reason I wait to the last minute to get them is because my kids like to sneak and open those baskets up before Easter come. And then they want to get mad and try to have me buy more when Easter's here. I ain't doing all of that. We're going to show y'all how to get it done the right way. All in all, though, besides that coming up for this weekend, I do want to talk about the previous week for me. It's been a it's been a long week, it seems like. I won't lie. It seemed like it's been a very, very long week. First and foremost, I just got to give gratitude to my children. I love them so much. They are truly, truly, truly... They truly have my back. That's what I will say. My kids love me unconditionally, and the love and respect they show me, it's unmatched. But it also reminded me that over this past weekend and week that, you know, my kids are pretty much, they'll always be in my corner. And man, I can't really say how many, I can't really speak on the volumes on how that is to me for my children to love me so much. Every man probably can relate to this and think that as a father, they're not doing the best job they can, and they can improve here and improve there. And my kids do a very, very good job of reassuring me that I'm doing a good job. Everyone else does too. But again, that self-criticism, you are your biggest critic. I believe in that all the time. They can tell me all day long, but in my mind, I can always see that I can do better. But somebody once told me that as being a parent, that's how you know you're a good parent, because you always want to do better. So I want to become a great parent. That's what I do want to do. I won't lie. But I love them to death, and I appreciate everything that they do. Terrence, for example, he has been taking over the editing portion of our videos. I'm kind of happy about it. He's been doing these little transition videos, and he's like on cue. He'll see a video I did, and then he'll go take that video and he'll try to do it on his own way and send it to me to my phone. So he'll always get my approval, and I'll go upload it to our YouTube channel. If you don't know, we do have our YouTube channel up now. It is the GOAT family, TheEeGoat family. GOAT stands for greatest of all Thomases. You know, we are the Thomas family. So it's a lot of Thomas families out there already on YouTube. We wanted to make it a little different. But I've been taking the videos he'll send me. I'll upload them, put them up to the channel. He'll call me or text me later on and tell me he's seen it up there. You know, I'll never tell him I just want him to see it, because one thing he does is he checks it. He checks it consistently, and he is very good at holding me accountable for the YouTube page. I really appreciate him for that. He knows that every couple of days, every 2 or 3 days, we have to post a few shorts or videos to the channel, and he'll always call me and tell me or send me some videos to post. So for the last few weeks, we've been doing that, and that's kind of cool. I'm pretty happy about that. I'm pretty excited that he's so set forth on actually doing the YouTube. I think he's going to be the content creator. He's going to be what I wanted to be my entire life growing up. He's very active. He's got a good personality. He's very animated. That's the word I'm looking for. He's very animated. But he always gets his siblings involved in the videos and people that are around him. So I'm just loving that he's taking it in, and he's not letting that distract him or disrupt him when it comes to school or home. He still does everything he needs to do when it comes to school or when it comes to his chores. And then on top of that, he's trying to take on extra activities like helping with his siblings and or, you know, making videos himself. So I really appreciate him for that. He's growing up so fast. It's like the thing about being a parent, the thing you love is the thing you hate, is watching them grow, because it also, you're teaching them to live without you, right? You're teaching them all the stuff they need to know, but then they do it on their own. They don't need your help or assistance, or they get to do it by themselves, and you're like, wait, let me help. You know, so on one hand, you're like, all right, you're growing, great. On the other hand, you're like, oh man, you're growing. Like, you won't need me pretty much too often. But it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling on both ends. I'm proud either way of how they are, all of them. Kalila, on the other hand, Kalila is just, she's got both her parents' attitude, but she's so calm. And I love it, but she's very, very sassy. And I'm getting prepared for the worst. I'm preparing for the worst, but I'm expecting the best. I know they're going to be a handful altogether. I will be completely honest. They're going to be a handful altogether, but that's the thing about children. You know, they teach you new things about yourself as they're learning to grow. They learn themselves. You learn more about yourself. You learn more about your kids. And that's kind of what's going on right now with mine. They're at that kid age, getting ready to soon. By the time I turn around again, one of them will be a teenager. And then by the time I turn around, they'll be graduating high school. You know, but hey, celebrations all around. But also this past week, unfortunately, I don't know what was wrong, man. I had Sunday night, I just started feeling real bad. And then Monday morning, like 2, 3 in the morning, I just started feeling real horrible. My body was just sore and weak, and, you know, I was vomiting, and I don't know what was going on. But by the time, you know, Monday night, Tuesday morning came, I was at least able to get up and get out of bed. So, of course, I went right back to work because, you know, I don't like missing money. Don't like missing money at all. Another thing I have been thinking about from this past week, though, because of all of these situations and opportunities presenting, somebody mentioned relocating, and I just said, well, right now, I don't think that's a feasible option to relocate. If I had a choice to, if I thought about it, I would go somewhere quiet. Somewhere nothing is going on, where you see a lot of green. I got that old spirit in me. That's what I would do. But right now, relocating is just not feasible because, one, my kids are so young. So leaving them is just not going to be an option. I can't do it at all. I will not do it. Will not even think about it. But I definitely will, when they get of age, they get older, and maybe we can have those conversations, or depending on what's going on here for me in town in Vegas. We'll see, but I plan on going really far in Vegas right now with everything I'm doing. I'm getting all my ducks in a row, all of my licenses out the way. I actually got to go recertify for my minister license next week. I got to go take care of that. So, kind of looking forward to it, kind of not. It's like a 2.5, 3 hour class. And, it really only takes it should only take like 30 minutes, but I'm gonna go because I want to, you know, make sure I keep my license in order. I don't want to get that out. Another thing I want to talk about is a lot of you all are holding your children, I want to say for hostage, for lack of a better word right now. My kids are very vocal with expressing themselves, and they know how to do it in a proper way. They may not be perfect at it because they're kids, but they're learning. But they're very vocal. So if they don't like something, they'll say they don't like it. They'll be respectful. They'll talk about how they don't like it or they don't want to do it. If they have an issue with something, they bring it up that they have a problem with this or they feel a type of way about this. And they ask a lot of questions. What I will say to that is when your children are like that, you cannot put them in a box and make them feel like certain things are not okay for them to do. Like they can't ask or they can't be told or they don't need to know this. Some conversations you can still have with these kids. And then, of course, some you obviously have to wait for. Obviously, you have to wait for them. But there are most of these conversations you can have with your kids. I think a lot of people are scared of shielding their kids from reality. But I don't know if you've all seen videos around. But if you look at any of these kids that have parents like that, they are telling their parents that if you love me like you say you do, instead of trying to shield me from reality, you should have taught me how to survive in it. And I'm a firm believer in that because we all know, look, I work in the funeral industry. Y'all know that. And I'm telling you right now, you never know when your time is going to come. You know, it's going to happen whenever it's time to happen. But with that being said, the last thing I would hate to know is I left this earth without teaching my kids anything about the real world and how they should prepare for it. I think you should allow your kids to be vocal. It may call you out to make you hold yourself accountable, and that's okay. But you don't put your kids in a box and make them feel like they're not allowed to ask questions. They're not allowed to know things. They're not allowed to learn things because I think that'll transfer to school, to life, to adulthood, their social life. I think they'll always have themselves in a box instead of realizing that, you know, there's more to it than just the simplicity of things, you know. Everything isn't simple in life. There are some complications. There are some setbacks. And we need to do our best to actually help these kids get there or learn to deal with them. Y'all don't want to wait till they're teenagers and then you try to do it and you wonder why it's so hard. It's because you've shielded them their whole lives so they don't understand why you're trying to force them out of this box now. You put them in the box for 8 years, 10 years, 15 years, and then you let them out saying, okay, ask away. And they're like, what do you mean? I don't know what that looks like. I don't have no idea what that looks like. And you can't do that with kids. They're very, very smart and they're very, they have great perception. My kids have literally came to me and just said, they just keep saying, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And of course I'm going to tell my kids I'm good. I'm like, you know, I might be going through something, but daddy got it. I'm okay. I'll be all right. Thank you for checking on me. I appreciate you for that, you know? And the fact that they can see it, it just makes me realize like, dang, I can't even hide nothing no more. But it makes me realize they know me better than I know myself sometimes. I think people in general just kind of getting the understanding of me. I think the other day I was at work and one of the owners said, hey, you okay? And I was like, yeah, why you think that? He said, well, you ain't got no suit on today. So normally when you come in here without a suit on, something going on. And I was like, oh man, that's crazy. You can read me like a book. But also it's probably a creature of habit, right? I'm always going to do the same things, always being around the same things. But knowing that people can actually see that about me, it just made me realize like, man, like I think I'm getting bad at this hiding stuff. You know, I used to be real good at hiding when stuff going on. And now I'm looking at it like, all right, maybe I'm not as good as I used to be. Maybe I'm not as great as I used to be. But however, I go to therapy. I have therapy classes. I do them twice a week. I do them on my phone or FaceTime or video calls. But that's just with my work. I don't have the time to go down to an office, but I still make a way. I still will do video calls or with my therapist. If y'all don't know that by now, I say it all the time, man. If you scared of going into an office, you could be in the comfort of your own home on your phone talking to a therapist. You ain't got to worry about none of that. And that's okay to do that. You know, I do mine in my car mostly because, you know, outside of work or home, that's the only kind of free time I get. You know, the house is kind of crowded and full, so I can't do that. But typically I do it in my car all the time, but it's a great session. Every time I have it every week, it's pretty good. And I can't lie. Like today I have one after this show. I'll go have my little session. It'll be, you know, I'll be at the other job, but they know I'll be in the back doing it. But I say that to say, I don't understand why it's still such a crime for everybody to go seek help. You know, I don't know what the issue is with that. Me personally, I have struggled with mental health issues probably all my life. But I am glad that I have the resources available, or I found the resources available to kind of take care of that and work on it to make it better. People expect that it's an overnight thing when you go to therapy or counseling, but sometimes healing with therapy and counseling could take years because you have so many different things you have to open up. And man, it's like I'm short on words today. Compartmentalize, right? You have so many things you have to kind of take out and go over bit by bit, piece by piece. You don't even realize some of the things that happen in your life that are causing trauma or issues that you have in today's time. Until you actually, do the work, and you figure it out, you find out. Me personally, I'll always be honest with y'all about it. Like my mental health it's good enough to where the point I work on it and I try to fix it and make it better. Sometimes I do be in a dark space and mentally I'm just like, I'm over it, but I still get up and do what I have to do and take care of business. For example, right now, you know what I mean? I may look like everything is great and everything is good. Mentally, I am in a bit of a dark space, but that don't mean I'm going to give up on anything. That means I'm just going to try harder, put the work in, put the effort in, change up my diet a little bit, change up my eating habits a little bit. I just signed up for a gym membership at Planet Fitness. They only got me because they're giving locals free memberships right now, and it's only like $20 a month. I can afford that. So things like that I'm doing where I know I need to kind of expand my horizons and work on my mental health. So that's kind of my goal right now, is to make sure I get that taken care of and get that done. I don't believe in delaying the inevitable. And honestly, that's just one of the things I don't want to delay is my mental health and well-being. Because let's be real, let's be honest. How long would I be able to go without help? How long would I be able to survive in this world if I didn't work on and take care of my mental health as much as I did? I probably end up in a lot of trouble. I probably turn back to drinking a lot. I probably turn back to just partying a lot. And in all fairness, that's just not healthy. I'm sorry, it's just not. At least not to me. Hey, if you with the party lifestyle and it works for you and it makes it better, it makes it easy, go for it. I'm not going to complain to you about it. I'm not going to talk about you. Everything, I mean, what is it? Everyone has something, whatever it may be, whatever their vice may be. Everyone has a vice. If that's yours, that's just yours. We grown. Nobody can talk you out of it. Nobody can force you to do what you don't want to do. But I do believe that in today's time, the biggest thing is we need to go ahead and make those changes. Make sure for the better, healthy changes, healthy environments, and we shouldn't be out here with the bullshit anymore. I think we passed that. Let's be real. The first thing I do want to talk about today, though, outside of that, is impulse controls. Because I think a lot of people don't really understand how acting off impulse can create such a huge issue, whether it be with work, whether it be with your relationship, whether it be with your friends, whether it just be in general. Not having the right impulse control can put you in some pretty crazy situations. Like you have these people that, here's one thing that I will give an example of. You have people that will sit up there, and as soon as somebody that they don't like is around them, they instantly get an attitude, okay? So that means as soon as that person says something to them, they're going to have an attitude with them. They're going to snap back, say something sassy to them, or, say something that's going to piss the other person off. And my thing with that is you shouldn't have the mindset that they're going to irritate you already. I feel like if you have somebody that is coming around like that and you can't control how you react to them, I think you shouldn't be around them in general. So if you see them walk into a place that you at, I think it's your job to walk out if you know that you can't control yourself around it. That's just a way of you knowing, okay, before it gets to that point, let me just leave. Now, if you want to stay and have fun and kick with everybody, go for it and have fun. But just remember to control your impulse and control your impulses. That whether that's with buying, with drugs, with your relationship, with your friends, with your family, your kids, you need to control your impulses because they can really affect things negatively. And then they leave you looking like, damn, I just did all of that for no reason. Like, oh, now I look foolish and stupid. And it's kind of crazy that some of y'all are okay with looking stupid and foolish. But me, on the other hand, I am not okay looking like that. Now, again, in the past, I've been there. I wasn't able to control my impulses. I didn't want to control my reactions. I didn't want to control my temper. I felt like if you made me mad, you deserve everything you got coming to you. Now I realize, if you made me mad, you may have everything that you got deserve coming to you. But that don't mean I got to be the one to give it to you, right? Karma is one hell of a thing. And I'm telling you right now, karma works fast, super fast. So I want to read this article that kind of just talks about impulse control. You know me, I got to give y'all something that's a little relatable. This was actually from February. So if you have anything on that one, just let me know. But this is from February, and it talks about examples of good impulse control. But before, it'll give you the definition. So it'll say impulse control refers to the ability to resist or delay acting on immediate urges or thoughts. It's a crucial skill for effective decision making and social interactions. Here are some examples of good impulse control: taking turns in conversation, resisting peer pressure, and completing less preferred tasks first. So conversely, examples of poor impulse control include aggressive behavior, interrupting others, and engaging in risky behaviors without thinking. So examples of good impulse control, because again, everything has a good and bad, yin and yang, right? Waiting your turn. Instead of interrupting someone mid-sentence, wait until they are finished talking. Resisting peer pressure. Refusing to participate in a risky activity, even if friends are encouraging you to do so. Delaying gratification. Putting off an immediate reward, like eating a treat, to get a bigger reward later, like a bigger treat after completing a task. Following rules. Adhering to traffic laws even when you're in a hurry. I mean, because let's be real, we all sometimes may speed every once in a while, but you already know if you ain't getting no tickets, the insurance rate's going to be low. And by the way, side note, I hear them Kia boys back out at it again. Y'all with them Kias, y'all be careful, man. I hear they back out again, and they out heavy, all around. So, everybody said, it's so funny because the minute somebody said they done calmed down and retired, they came right back out of retirement on you. So be careful what you're speaking to the world. Examples of poor impulse control. So this is meaning you need to work on it. There are some things that are just not up to par, and we can all use some growth and elevation. Aggressive behavior, using physical force or verbal abuse to resolve conflicts. Interrupting others, cutting someone off while they're speaking, breaking rules or laws, speeding, stealing, or engaging in other illegal activities, engaging in risky behaviors, having unprotected sex, using drugs, or engaging in dangerous activities without thinking about the consequences. And I think we've all done that one before. Destroying property in a moment of anger, destroying something that belongs to you or someone else. Inappropriate remarks, making comments that are offensive or hurtful. Angry outbursts, losing your temper easily, even over minor issues. Now, with that being said, it talks about how if you can't control your impulses and they are going to affect it negatively, they can have a huge impact on that. Some people don't really believe that and understand that. And I'm like, how do you not see that? Like, I would be able to see that. The one I did like, though, was, where did we go? Using physical force or verbal abuse to resolve conflicts. I want to have a quick side conversation, a quick sidebar about that. So I think it was Corey. Is it Corey Holmes? A comedian. His name is Corey, comedian. He said, he made a very good reference one day. He said, dating someone who can't control their mouth while angry is just as dangerous as dating someone who can't control their hands while angry. It's just a different form of abuse. And I wholeheartedly believe that, because when some people see it, they'll say, oh, but they're such an angel. This person is that, this person that. But how you talk to people matters. I don't care who you are and what you say. Let's bring your kids in it, for example. If you're verbally abusing your kids, oh, I knew you couldn't do it. Oh, you suck. Oh, you this and that. Oh, you need to get out of my face. I can't believe you fucking up again. Like, if all you can do is verbally abuse them, what do you think they're going to grow up doing? What do you think they're going to grow up saying? They're going to follow your suit and do the same thing in life. They're going to just be verbally abusive because they think that that's okay and that's what love is. You do that with your friends and your family. You know what they're going to do? They're going to separate from you because they're going to feel like, well, if you can't control your mouth when you talk to me, maybe I just don't need to be around you. Because they may be able to control their impulses and say, well, if you want to verbally abuse me, cool, you can do that. I just won't be around to hear it. It's like that old saying, if nobody's around in the woods and the tree falls down, does it still make a sound? Yeah, it makes a sound. Nobody's just there to hear it. So when you're dealing with people in life and you can't control how you talk to them, you cannot be upset over the fact whether they remove themselves from the situation, macho energy, whatever the case may be. You warranted them to approach aggressively. But there are a lot of people that have controlled their impulses. And when you do that, they're not going to allow you to bring them to such a level. They're not. They're going to just be quiet about it. They're going to be calm. You're going to keep trying to poke the bear, and you wondering why you can't poke the bear. Then that verbal abuse might turn to physical abuse. It's one road to another. It's just not really worth it. It's not really worth it. You shouldn't be doing that. You should really work on how you talk to people, because I kid you not, man, everybody remembers what you say to them and what you do to them. So if you got friends, you got family, you got a relationship, and you are verbally abusive, you are no better than somebody that's beating on somebody. You are no better than somebody that's being mentally abusive to somebody. You are in the same boat. Y'all just rowing on different sides of the boat. You know what I mean? Honestly, I think verbal abuse is probably the worst one to me. You know what I mean? I think verbal abuse is really crazy because, verbal abuse, you can talk somebody into killing themselves with how crazy you talk to them, how you deal with it. It's not fair. It's not cool. It's not right. It takes away from the actual learning curve that you need to get around. Like, if you're going to steady verbally abuse somebody, then you also have to be ready with the consequences that come with it. So if you got friends and you are verbally abusive to your friends, you don't know how to give them compliments or talk nice to them. When they don't want to hang out with you, or they stop calling and kicking and hang out, you got to know why. They don't want to be around you no more. You're too abusive to them. They don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? As for example, you're wondering why they got the friend that's always being positive, always speaking life into them, why they want to be cool with them, is because they love being around that kind of stuff. They love people that speaks life into them. Nobody wants to be around somebody that's going to talk crazy to them. Nobody wants to be around anybody like that. If all you can do is, and listen, I said to the fellas too, because we all got homeboys we talk about and we mess with, but there's always a limit to what we'll do, for the most part. And if you don't have a limit, you out of line, and you shouldn't be talking to your homeboys like that, and they're not really your friends. Whoever's doing that to you is not really your friend. Get away from them, or keep your distance, or love them from a distance. But let me tell you now, you can't trust them. There's nobody that's going to love and care about you that's going to constantly talk down on you instead of actually trying to help you grow and become better. I'll just put that in the air for you. Let me get back to this here now. Now, talking about impulse control, I actually did not know that impulse control is actually they have disorders for that. If y'all knew that, hey, cool, so be it. I'm happy y'all did. But I found that out recently, and that excites me because I learned some new information that actually interests me, that I want to talk about, because I always thought impulse control just relied on a person and that everyone was able to control their impulses, right? That it shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be an issue. But what I realize is some people actually need help to control those impulses. They need the right direction, the right leadership, the right skills and resources to do so. This one here is actually from February 28th from Amen Clinics, and it's talking about 10 ways to overcome impulse control disorders. Now, do you lose your cool more often than you like and when it's unnecessary? Do you blurt out inappropriate things or interrupt people without thinking? Do you engage in risky behavior without considering the consequences to yourself or others? These are examples of impulse behavior. While we all exhibit impulse behavior from time to time, you heard that, we all do from time to time, some individuals, both children and adults, regularly struggle with impulse control. Regularly means every single day, okay? On the daily. Impulse behavior may be an indication of a mental health disorder or an actual impulse control disorder, ICD. It can also be caused by genetic factors, compromised brain function, or trauma, or a combination of all. Here's a closer look at what impulse behavior is and how to manage it. What is impulse behavior? Simply put, impulse behavior is acting quickly without consideration of consequences. Sometimes the consequences are mild, but other times they can be serious or life-threatening. We are naturally more impulsive when we are young because our brain's prefrontal cortex, PFC, is less developed than the emotional reactive part of the brain. The PFC is responsible for focus, empathy, learning from mistakes, judgment, decision-making, and impulse control. That's why young people exhibit less forethought in judgment and decision-making. Damn, that makes so much sense, because when I was younger, boy, you couldn't tell me nothing. I thought I had it all figured out. The PFC reaches full development usually by early adulthood, around your mid-20s. That's when most people start to exercise more self-control. Hey, they talking to me directly with this one. I hear you loud and clear, because I think that's exactly when I started doing that. Mid-20s, mid to late 20s. Man, I started making the best decisions of my life. Actually, when I had my son, I started making good decisions, but the best decisions came around 27, 28. Yet, if you have impulsive control issues, you don't know how to stop being impulsive, even when it causes negative consequences in your personal relationships, profession, and life in general. Now, here are some signs of impulse control disorders. You know, we all want to know what signs look like. The following behaviors, if exhibited habitually, may indicate an impulse control issue. Angry outbursts, losing your temper often over minor issues. Destroying property. In a moment of anger, you destroy something that belongs to you or someone else. Exaggerating problems. You make minor problems more important and urgent than they actually are. Always starting anew. You like to start fresh and wipe the slate clean by abruptly joining or quitting activities or groups. Man. Oversharing. Share inappropriate or intimate details without thinking. Binging. Overdo it with shopping, eating, or gambling. Having unprotected sex. Put yourself or others at risk by engaging in sex without any protection, especially with someone whose STD status is unknown. I like that they say that because I don't know what's wrong with y'all going out here and just sleeping with everybody, but make them go get tested. I don't got no problem. You know what I mean? Like, I've never had a problem in the past when it was a point like that. If anybody ever asked me to go get tested, I did it with pleasure. Hey, I got you. I'm glad you're safe. I like you. I like you already. You know how to be safe just like I do. Cool. Let's make that happen. Physical aggression, get physical as an overreaction to a given situation. And then self-harm, engage in self-harm during a moment of intense anger, disappointment, or sadness. Now, an impulsive child or adolescent may habitually exhibit the following: yell or scream when frustrated, get physical, push other kids, throw a toy when angry, get in fights, grab or take what they want without asking or waiting for their turn, interrupt others, or lack protective caution, such as running into the street without checking for traffic. Now, some of these things every child will go through, because all of my kids did all of that. They did. But I think it's the way you coach them and teach them how to be better at it than for them to keep going around the same cycle. I don't ever want my kids to be like me and keep ending up in the same cycle with situations. So my best goal is to show them ways and show them routes that they can take to avoid that. But I don't want to show them ways around it. I want to show them ways through it, if that makes sense to you. Causes of impulse behavior. Any of the following factors can be cause of impulse behavior. Brain function problems. So problems with prefrontal cortex function may result in impulsive behavior. Research has found, indeed, the brain imaging work using SPECT scans at Amen clinics has shown an association with underactivity in the PFC and impulsive behavior. Additional research suggests that impaired brain connectivity may factor into impulsivity as well. Of course, impulsive behavior can also be a symptom of traumatic brain injury, brain lesions from disease, or stroke. That part was something new to me too, because I didn't know that. I didn't know that one. This one I did know. Genetics. A family history of mental health conditions or impulsive behavior can lead to an increased risk. Some research has revealed several genes that may make an individual more likely to exhibit impulsive behavior and less self-control. Mental health conditions. Impulsive behavior is a common symptom of several mental health disorders, including attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD or ADD, bipolar disorder, the manic phase, personality disorders such as borderline personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder called conduct disorder in children and adolescents. There's also a group of disorders called impulse control disorders, which, as the name implies, have to do with failure to control impulses. Examples include kleptomania, impulse to steal. Oh, man. Let's see if I got this right. Trichotillomania, urge to pull out your own hair. I don't know why we would want to do that, but I get it. We all have our own issues. Pyromania, impulse to set fires. I used to be a pyromaniac when I was a kid, but I learned fast not to do that. Put a counter in the marble, put a hole, or burn into the marble counter at home as a kid and got a whooping and never thought about doing it again. Oppositional defiant disorder. Intermittent explosive disorder, explosive outbursts of anger, violence out of proportion to circumstance. Oh, okay. Also, trauma can be one of those things. Trauma can play a role in the development of impulsive behavior, as trauma may impact executive function and emotional regulation. Research shows that post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, substance abuse disorder, and impulsivity tend to travel together. Emotional trauma from adverse childhood experiences can lead to impulsive behavior too, according to a recent study. And then you have substance use disorder. Of course, addiction to alcohol or drugs leads to a chronic pattern of impulsivity. When an individual is intoxicated or in a withdrawal state, substance abuse can lead to an increase in impulse actions or risky behavior. I understand that one. 10 ways to overcome impulsivity. While there's no cure for problems with impulsive behavior, treating related mental health conditions and taking the following actions can help you to strengthen your impulse control. Go to therapy. Don't I tell y'all that all the time? Go to therapy. I don't tell y'all to go to therapy because I don't went to it. I tell y'all to go to therapy because I really think a lot of y'all will benefit from trying to fix the issues you had in your childhood or in life. I think, or in the past. I'll just say the past because we don't know where the trauma came from, right? I'll say the past. I think a lot of people can benefit from that, and some people are afraid to really deal with it and be accountable. But just understand that you are growing and making yourself better when you choose to go that route. So it doesn't matter what it looks like. It's about the journey you're going through to get to the end, to get to that finish line. Get your body moving. Regular exercise increases blood flow to the brain and to the prefrontal cortex, which may increase your ability to exercise self-control. Seek counsel before big decisions. So discuss big decisions such as spontaneous trip, a big purchase, quitting your job, etc., with a trusted friend, family member, spiritual advisor, or therapist before taking action. And that can help you to avoid potentially disastrous or impulsive decisions. Get adequate sleep. Even if you feel like you don't need it, I think it is worth it. Okay. So let's just be honest. I didn't think I needed it, but I found out it was worth it. And I had to do it. Your brain goes to important task of washing itself when you sleep, which helps it to maintain healthy function. Sleep problems can lead to brain health problems and poor decision making. Keep your brain function healthy with 7 to 9 hours of sleep at night. 7? I can aim for 7, but I might get more to 5 or 6. But I'll aim for 7. I always thought it was like 6 to 8, so that's my fault. Balance your blood sugar. Low blood sugar levels are associated with lower overall blood flow to the brain. Irritability, poor decision making, and greater impulsivity. Keeping blood sugar balanced by eating healthy snacks between meals. I like those Belvita things. I don't know if y'all had those before, but I really like those. Those are pretty good. I'll probably have them after breakfast in the morning or after lunch or something. I think I had pizza earlier. I might eat one on the way to the next job. Avoid triggering situations. So take care of yourself by avoiding situations that lead to impulsive behavior. For example, avoid the shopping mall if you are an impulse shopper. When you must shop, bring a list and stick to it. I don't even think that helped them solve they do that. I think if you are an impulse shopper, you should definitely be sending somebody else to do the shopping for you. Or you should really practice trying to control it by going out and, like it says, make a list and try to practice sticking to the list and going from there. You're not going to get it right the first time. Maybe not the first 10 times. You may not get perfect at it. But all you got to do is keep trying, and I guarantee you'll get better at it if you keep putting the effort in. 7 is pause. And this is what I'm learning in life right now. Take a moment to pause before you act on your impulses. Just pause in general. I like moving fast. I do too much. Think it through. For example, if you frequently interrupt people or overshare, practice pausing before you blurt out your first thought. Ask yourself, do I need to say this? Do I need to say this now? How will I feel after I say this? Now, I say that because when I was working at Assurion, that was 2015. So 10 years ago, and I would have been, 22 going on 23. So when I was at Assurion, that was I think one of the big times I learned a very valuable lesson when it comes to myself. I used to just kind of, I would just say things and just blurt it out. Like I was very blunt, but I would just blurt it out. It didn't matter. One of my managers, he helped me start the training for this. He said, what I want you to do is when you think about saying something, I want you to think about it for 3 seconds. If it takes you longer than 3 seconds to think about it, don't say it. And I can't tell you how much that has helped me out in life. Just that small advice to, if you got to take more than 3 seconds to think about it, then don't say it. Okay, cool. I respect that. Because what that's saying is within that 3 seconds, you couldn't decide if it was appropriate enough to say, which means that it's probably not okay to say. So just don't do it. 8 is embrace mindfulness and meditation. Find a mindfulness meditation practice you like to sharpen self-awareness and put distance between yourself and acting on impulse. One study found high school students who practice a mindfulness meditation technique had lowered impulsivity. 9, role play with your child. If your child has impulse control problems, try to point out how their impulsivity makes them feel later, and then role play to explore alternate behavior. I think that's great because you're also teaching your kids to problem solve, to proactively problem solve. Practice patience. Modeling patience will help your child. Having patience with your own impulsivity will help you. Patience is the antidote for impulsivity. I like that. I like that a lot. Last thing it talks about is when to seek professional help. Risky or aggressive impulse behavior can lead to potentially serious consequences. If your impulsive behavior is interfering with your ability to cope with daily life or threaten safety, reach out to a qualified mental health professional. Qualified. Couldn't even say that just now. Impulsive behavior and other mental health issues can't wait. At Amen's Clinic, we're here for you. We offer in-clinic brain scanning and appointments as well as mental telehealth. If you don't know what telehealth is like virtual over the phone. That way you don't have to really move from your couch or your home. Clinical evaluations and therapy for adults, teens, children, and couples. Find out more by speaking to a specialist today at 888-521-3102 or visit your website, which is amenclinics.com. All right. I like that one again because it just tells you, it goes over impulses, how they can affect you in a good way, in a bad way. It lets you know that all impulses are, sometimes with your impulses, you have to be willing to work on them. It's like that old saying, I can lead a horse to water, but I can't force him to drink. So you can't force somebody around you or somebody you know or colleague, coworker, friend, relative, spouse. You cannot force them to work on their impulses and control them. You can only pretty much offer assistance. If they don't want to do it for themselves, it's pretty much a wash for you to try to make them do it, because at that point you'll be talking to yourself. And then at that point you're going to get frustrated with yourself. You're going to get irritated with yourself, and then you'll be upset and angry with everybody else, and now you back in the same situation that they in that you didn't want to be in the first place. Right or wrong, which is what I'm thinking. Now, another thing I want to talk about with that is because I have a lot of me and the fellas talk, okay? The fellas talk. The fellas feel comfortable enough with my ear there to talk to me. You'll never hear me directly say anybody's name and what they did, who they were, or really directly talk about their situation. But collectively, when I hear the same things, I just kind of want to give a little bit of advice to it, you know? So a lot of fellas are feeling as if they've done therapy. They've done counseling. They don't mind it. They're okay with it. But what they're having issues with is their spouses. When they want to go to something like that with their spouses, typically it's they'll go, but they're dragging their spouse to it, so the spouse is not really into it. Or when they're trying to, create the plans, the spouse kind of finds a way to, what do you call it? Deflect, not really pay attention to the problems at hand, or their spouse just completely ignores them, so it causes more problems later. And I've given every guy the same advice when I say it. I say, well, have you thought about letting her go to therapy or counseling by herself first? I think you should let them go by themselves, let them figure out the issues they have, the trauma they've got from their past, let them start working on that and dealing with that. And then once they've dealt with their own trauma, their own past issues, their own problems, I think once that comes afloat and they're able to work on their issues, then and only then can y'all work together. I think if you go on a counseling and therapy together without them working on themselves, I think honestly they're going to delay the inevitable. A breakup. I think they're going to delay the inevitable. I think a lot of people don't understand that if your spouse is wanting to work it out with you and they want it to make it better, if they're vocalizing that to you, that they want to make it better, you need to listen to them and hear them. Because the minute that your spouse stops talking and they no longer are interested in letting you know what's going on, you have an even bigger problem on your hands. Now, at this point, the problem on your hands is you might be losing your spouse. You may end up single now all of a sudden because you wanted to sit here and you wanted to play games and you wanted to make it a big deal without actually taking the time to work on the issues that you and your spouse have. Sometimes your spouse is willing to step to the side to let you work on your issues personally, so that way when you're done working on those, you guys can get together and get started on working on the ones you have together. Okay? Men, we're just tired of the non-accountability, of the deflection, the blame game. We tired of all of that. You know, that it's just, at some point you got to grow up. If you in my generation, we in our 30s now. You in your 30s, you don't want to work on controlling your impulses. You can't control your mouth. You can't control none of that. You shouldn't be dating, for sure. You might have a few friends. That's cool, but you shouldn't be dating. You shouldn't be in the dating world. You should be at home fixing yourself. You should be at a therapist's office fixing yourself. There are things that you can do to make sure that you can have a healthy life as well as your partner if you choose to have one. But for all of you out here dating with all of these past trauma issues, you ain't finna be doing nothing but keep ruining these good men. I kid y'all not. Y'all wonder why men turn to bad men, or good men turn to bad men. They don't turn to bad men. They pretend to be bad men. Do you know why they pretend to be bad men? Because you women seem to, and not all of you, because there are some of you that actually, y'all know the game plan and y'all ready to stick to it. But some of you women, y'all have these men in a situation where y'all don't know the game plan. Y'all are out there just kind of like, I can do whatever I want. I could talk to you how I want. I could treat you how I want. And then you get mad because one day that man steps up and he's all like, well, you can't do none of that with me no more. But once he becomes an asshole, you want to listen. You want to do what he says. You want to follow suit. So these men pretend to be bad men because you listen to bad men. You know what I mean? A lot of the women are, you want to keep your kids away from the dad and you want to raise these single men, but you're raising the same men you talk about. Where does that come from? Y'all are out here raising the same men you talk about. The men that are emotionally unavailable. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to pay any bills. They don't want to do none of that. And it's because you're raising them to be the men you hate so bad. That's so crazy to me. Y'all are willing to point out the fact that these men ain't shit, but they're raised by single women. Where does that come from if that's the case? Yes, I'm not saying you can't put it on the fact that some fathers are not there. The fathers are definitely to blame if they're not there. But what are you going to talk about when it comes to the point where you got a majority of these women keeping the kids from their fathers? Or trying to. I don't know how any other state works, but Nevada's a 50-50 state. So if you sign that birth certificate, fellas, you got rights. You got rights. So go to court. It hurts. It sucks. You got to go through a lot, but go to work. Do what you got to do. You have rights. This is a father state, and what they mean by that is 50-50. You both share custody. Nobody shares custody over the other. Unless there is a court order from the family court stating that somebody has sole legal custody, it ain't happening. Once you sign that birth certificate, fellas, you automatically retain custody just like she do. I'm telling you right now, don't let nobody tell you any different. I kid you not. You can call the police down and call them on 311. They'll tell you the same thing. Go down to the family courts. They'll tell you the same thing. So I'm telling you now as a father, if you sign that birth certificate, you got rights. Okay. Still, that's not fair to these women that are trying to keep these kids away from these fathers. They're trying to do their job. Let these fathers do their job. Do not interrupt. One thing I try not to do is when it comes to Diamond being a nurturer, there's some things I'm not going to interrupt and say nothing about because she's doing her job. There's other things I'm going to interrupt and say because it's interfering with my job. Okay. It's interfering with my job as a father on what I need to do. So I got to speak up and let it be known. But all in all, man, it's just, I don't get it. I don't understand how. And then y'all say, oh, well, I got to do this. I got to do that. Let me tell you something right now. You are 100% responsible 100% responsible for your own bills, okay? Your own bills. Stop using these kids as excuses as to why you need your bills taken care of. Because if you put somebody on child support and they are paying you child support every month, the state themselves has said this is the amount that that child needs in order for them to be able to take care of. So for you to approach your child's father and tell them that child support ain't enough, maybe you don't need custody of the kid. Maybe you should give custody to the father and you pay that amount in child support every month, and then you won't have to worry about it. Let's make it fair. But y'all don't want to do that because you like having the power and control to say that, I got the control over here. Fellas, once again, if you are in the state of Nevada, I'm telling you right now, as long as you sign that birth certificate, you have rights. Go fight. It's simple. It's so simple. So easy and simple. Y'all are afraid to make the hard choices. And that could be to go down to the courthouse and fill out that paperwork. That can be having that conversation with your kid's other parent, letting them know what you need and what you're going to do. And that's just what it is. I think a lot of y'all are having these issues because you're scared to have uncomfortable conversations. And do you not know that uncomfortable conversations are the way you grow? You have to have those. They're uncomfortable for a reason because you're trying to get something taken care of and out the way. You don't want it to keep bothering you. You don't want it to be an issue anymore. You want to resolve the problem in the healthiest way possible, right? Sometimes that means you have to make tough decisions in order to do that. And I think a lot of people are so scared of making tough decisions because they're worried about how people feel, how people are going to act, or how people are going to operate. I'm telling you right now, If you are scared to make a tough decision that's going to better you and yourself or you and your family, whatever it may be, you and your career, and you're scared to make that decision, you're going to stay stagnant for such a long time. Comfortability is such a weakness. Nobody wants to talk about how comfortability can be a weakness. But if you've been at a job for 5 years and you know what you're doing there, and you know you got your set schedule, you got things going, but you get a job that pays you $6 more an hour and they want you to come over, your schedule might change a little bit, but you're still at 40 hours a week, you're still doing this, still doing that. Most people won't take that job. Mind you, they paying you $6 more an hour. You know why they won't take it? I already know this job. I know what to do. I know how to do it. I got enough to pay my bills. I don't really need extra. So I'm okay. I'm going to stay here. That's not cool. What you should have done is, you know what? I've reached the highest level I could reach here. So at this point, I think I've done the best I can do with this position. It's time for me to level up and move to the next thing. For example, at the mini golf, I've gotten to a point where I've been there 2.5 years, right? And there's no other level for me to go to. I can't be an assistant manager because that's taken. Can't be a GM because that's taken. So the highest level I can be at, I'm already at. And there's no moving up from there. I mean, I may get a pay increase, which I might get one this year. We'll see. I may get a pay increase, but it's kind of like, well, that's cool and all, but, you know, I kind of want to move up. Like, it ain't just about the pay. It's more so I want better opportunities. I want to become better. I want to learn more. I want to do better. Yeah, when I get older, it's like at some point you got to just kind of calm down because you can't learn everything. But I don't want to stay stagnant in the same place. I think that's what a lot of people do. All in all today, man, I just want y'all to be able to control your impulses or figure it out, learn to control them, get some help for it. Please go to therapy, counseling, do what you got to do and take care of yourself, because you taking care of yourself is first and foremost. You can't take care of nobody around you, including them kids, if you don't take care of yourself. And then don't be afraid to make those tough decisions. You may not like it. You may not want to do it. It may be uncomfortable, but hey, that's how you grow as a person, okay? Anything I may say to y'all when I come out here every week, I say it out of love. It's never out of spite, hate, nothing, or malice. It's out of love. It's out of love, and that's it. But I do appreciate y'all for listening to me again this Thursday on the most hottest radio station on the planet. Of course, you know, Hot 702.5 FM. I will catch y'all again next Thursday at 4 p.m. Back here at it again. Again, thank you so much. I do want to say it all in all, like I do every week. Peace, love, and hair grease. I'll catch y'all next week.